A couple of years ago, I bought this, a wrecked 2015 Tesla P85D. I spent some time with some friends fixing everything from the broken subframe and suspension to the battery cooling system, and after the paint and body work was done and we detailed it, I couldn't have been happier. I daily drove this car for 2 years until my friend Matt from Warped Perception let me know he was looking for a performance Tesla out of warranty to do some experiments on, and since mine had a rebuilt title and couldn't supercharge and I was planning on going full-time YouTube and needed a car that I could take on road trips, I decided to sell it to him and buy this, a 47,000 mile 2016 P100D in my favorite Tesla color, deep blue metallic. Outside of the new plaid, this is my dream spec Model S, and the car came equipped with the now $10,000 full self-driving feature.
And of course it has ludicrous plus mode with launch control. Yes, bring it on. Which means if we hit the brake and the gas, whoa, that's 60 in about 2.4 seconds. This is ridiculous. Now this car does supercharge because it has a clean title, but I did buy it for about $15,000 under good condition market value because I found a good deal and because it has some issues.
This car needs some love mechanically, electronically, and cosmetically, including some medicinal burns. I think that's family friendly enough, and I'm gonna make this Tesla mine with some custom touches, including the installation of a carbon fiber paint protection film called XP Black Carbon from ultrafitprotection.com. I'll leave a link down below if you want to check it out now, but I had never seen anything like this before. This is paint protection film, but it looks just like real carbon fiber. It's self-healing, so you can't scratch it, and it's ultra hydrophobic. This, along with their XP crystal, were super impressive to me and the installers, and we installed them both a little bit later in the video.
Now, up until this point, the most expensive car that I've ever bought in my entire life was $26,000. That was my 1961 Rolls Royce. I've never spent any more than that on any car, so this is a little bit different, and I'll cover how much I paid for the Tesla a little later in the video, but place your guesses down below. Now, I can already hear it. Alex, this car is boring. It has no soul, and I agree to a certain extent, but this is a perfect daily driver. It's a big hatchback car that doesn't use expensive gas, which is getting a little out of control around Chicago, and it's really not all that boring. I mean, it does run a 10.5 in the quarter mile, but even if it was boring, I have plenty of cars that I love and that I drive all the time and that make plenty of noise and have plenty of soul in case I want to go for a soulful ride. Woo! This thing is a beast. And so with that, welcome to Legit Street Cars. And if you normally tune in for my gas-powered content, do not worry. I really think you're going to enjoy this video. It covers a lot, and this is one of my from start to finish videos, so you're going to see a final result today. So you know the drill. Grab yourself a cold or warm beverage, a snack perhaps, and enjoy the show.
Now, my first step in making this my dream EV daily driver was fixing some normal rock chips and filling in the front license plate bracket holes. I don't like front license plates, especially on a car with a nice front end like the Tesla. I brought the car to O'Hare Auto Body in Bensenville, Illinois because they're Tesla certified and they're amazing with paint, as you'll see later, and they immediately got to work. The passenger fender had a nasty rock chip too, so they sanded that and the entire hood and then filled each chip. After letting the filler cure, it was sanded again, cleaned, and then cleaned once more before being deemed ready for paint. First up in the paint booth, they sprayed a black primer on any panel that was to be painted, and then Jordan at O'Hare sprayed the deep blue metallic base color. With some colors, the factory paint code isn't good enough by itself to get a good match, so Jordan sprayed many sample swatches out to compare to the factory finish before he was satisfied. After letting the car bake in the booth at 160 degrees for 1 hour, he finished it off with 2 coats of clear.
Well, it's a few days later, and wow, does this car look so much better without the front license plates. And O'Hare Auto Body just knocked it out of the park. So they painted this fender, the bumper, the hood, and they didn't paint this fender. So I know what you're thinking, Alex, why wouldn't you have this fender painted? Well, a couple of reasons. It didn't need any paint, it's in great shape, and I just wanted to show you how good they are at matching the color. So I've been working with O'Hare for a while, and they're amazing in the paint booth. Look at this. Brand new paint, 6-year-old paint. It's identical, you can't tell the difference. They're so good at matching the color. Since the paintwork, I have had to drive the car just a little bit, so it's kind of dirty, but we're gonna get to cleaning it in a moment. Before that, we have to fix 2 really annoying issues. One is electrical and one is mechanical, and it has to do with the brakes. So we go to accelerate, this thing is so fast. And then when I hit the brakes, the steering wheel just shakes back and forth. And if you're a regular LegitStreetCars viewer, then you know that this is a simple case of warped front rotors, and that's exactly what we have here. These rotors are shot, so are the pads. But something you might not know is that this is not typical for any electric car or hybrid with regenerative braking. So these cars hardly ever use the actual physical brake calipers to slow the car down. Most of the time, especially a car like this that has a pretty strong regen, you're slowing the car down with the electric motors. But some owners want their EV to feel like a traditional car, so they turn this to a lower setting, and then they're using their normal brakes just like any other car on the road. So for about 47,000 miles, it seems the original owner didn't really like the feel of the regen, so he basically turned it off, and we have worn out brakes. Now, I'll leave a complete tutorial video that I made a few years ago linked down below on how to replace the brake pads and rotors on a car equipped with big Brembo brakes like this, big fixed calipers like these. But luckily for us, it's really easy. So you're just gonna remove the 2 big bolts in the back, and then don't hang the caliper by the hose, hang it up or rest it on a table. Then zip off the screw or bolt holding on the rotor. Okay, then you can shimmy it off in most cases. So I like to thread this back just a couple of threads so it doesn't come off and land on your foot. Goodbye, old warped rotor. Then we'll use a wire brush to clean up the hub. And just a little bit of brake grease, not a lot. Then your nice new shiny rotor. Reinstall the screw. Back on with your caliper. Then after you've tightened the caliper bolts and pushed the pads in, you're going to tap out your pins. Remove your pin, remove your pad holder. Pop out your old nasty pads, lubricate your new pads, and then slide in your new brake pads. So I'll replace the other one here, install our pins, and clip in reverse order, and we're moving on to a brake flush. And as expected, our brake fluid looks pretty nasty. Like any car, we'll start off by sucking it out. And then we're gonna pour in our good synthetic brake fluid. This car calls for .3 or .4, fill the entire reservoir. Then, like any car, we're going to start on the passenger side rear. Just like any car, you want to start at the caliper furthest away from the master. And as soon as you crack it, you're going to see this nasty fluid coming. So we're going to put our hose on there, break it loose, and then we'll simply use our pneumatic bleeder to suck the fluid out. Now these calipers have 2 bleeders, an inner and an outer, so we're going to hit both of those. And you're going to know when you're done bleeding each caliper because the fluid's going to go from looking like this to looking like this. And I just finished up our last bleeder at the front left, so the brake fluid flush is complete. And now for the most important part
of the brake job. Oh yeah, smooth as glass, no vibration in the steering wheel at all. This is perfect, and all for only about $200 and about an hour and a half of my time, including the brake fluid flush. We're good. Okay, so next up, we're gonna take care of a common issue with a pretty neat feature, and it has to do with these trick door handles. So you guys know these door handles pop out. This is for aerodynamics and probably for cool factor as well. So after they come out, you just pull them a little bit and it pops the door open. That's how it's supposed to work. This one comes out, but that's about it. It does nothing. So a couple of common issues are that these handles just don't come out at all, and this, it comes out, but it doesn't activate the actuator. So in order to open up my rear door, I have to reach inside the car and use the inside door handle. And these things are just generally freaking out. Look at this handle. It's moving in and out. Doesn't know what to do. So to fix this, we just need to remove the door panel. So I've removed 2 screws there, 1 screw down there. And we're simply going to pop this door panel off. Goodbye, door panel. With this access panel out of the way, we need to remove the entire door handle mechanism, which is this large black contraption. And after removing 4 10mm nuts from the inside, we should be able to remove this complete unit by pushing it through this way. Okay. Just push the door handle in, that'll give us a lot more room. And then even though it looks impossible to get out, it comes right out. Not bad. With this on the bench, we can crack the case open. And almost immediately I found our issue, and this is really common, but see this white wire? It's corroded and it's pretty much holding on by the insulation. There we go. We just pulled it right off. So that connection breaks for this micro switch, and then when you pull on the handle a second time, it won't activate the actuator. So they do sell a repair kit. It comes with 2 of these micro switches because the other one can go bad as well. So we're simply just going to replace this harness with the micro switches, and we should be good. And this is really easy. We're simply unscrewing both of these micro switches. They have a tiny little torque screw, and they slide right off, just like this. So I've removed the side that didn't work with the broken wire, and now we just have that side. Okay, that's it. Okay, so now we're just going to reinstall in reverse order. I still have to reinstall the door panel, but everything else is put back together. So let's give it a function test. Yes. And it's working great. Excellent. Now, if you Model S owners are living the sunken in door handle life like I am, it's not supposed to look like this. It's supposed to look more like this, nice and flush with the door. You guys can easily fix this at home. All you have to do is remove the door panel and then get a little ratchet with a T30 in this little hole right there. And then just turn it a few turns. You're going to adjust this a couple of times before you get it right. That's good. And then you'll have a door handle that's nice and flush with the door like this. This is very easy. You guys can definitely make this adjustment at home. Next, we're at Chicago Auto Pros in Lombard, Illinois, and this is where the Tesla is really going to transform into my ultimate daily driver EV. I plan on driving this car a lot, and I want it to look good for a long time, so right now the guys are prepping the car for the installation of the XP Crystal Paint Protection Film and the XP Black Carbon Paint Protection Film. So the guys need to make sure the paint is free of any contaminants, so after a good wash, they're spraying an iron particle remover that will dissolve iron so it's not embedded further into the clear coat when they buff and polish. After the iron remover is rinsed away, they clay bar the entire car, which lifts away deeper contaminants, and this car had a lot of nasty stuff in the paint. With the Tesla all cleaned up, it's time for the paint correction, and this is a very important step before any paint protection film is applied, but especially especially on my car, because there are a lot of swirls in this paint. And when I say a lot, I mean a lot. It's really, really bad. And the reason for all of these scratches is this right here. So the previous owner must have bought a monthly subscription to a car wash, and these are typically the automatic car washes, the scratch and shines, if you will. So you buy X amount per month, maybe 3 or 4, and he must have just ran this car through hundreds of times in the roughly 5 years of ownership. And there's another one right here for a different car wash. So yeah, it's safe to say that this car has probably never seen a hand wash up until this video. Now, even though the front end was just painted, the guys at Chicago Auto Pros are still going to buff and polish every single surface of the Tesla to ensure there are no imperfections, because once you put the clear PPF down, whatever the surface looked like is what it's gonna look like, so you don't wanna seal in any scratches. So while the guys are correcting the paint, I have removed this panel from right in here in order to more easily get this piece of chrome off, because we're gonna be wrapping it with this, the XP Black Carbon Paint Protection Film. This is a state-of-the-art paint protection film that is self-healing.
Right off the bat, I'm like, this looks like real carbon to me, okay? This looks great. I can see that it has a cap sheet on it. So this is a small sample. It has a cap sheet. Once you remove that, you reveal this beautiful carbon. And then once you open that up, you take off this back plastic, and then it reveals the actual carbon. And what I really like about it, I've been playing around with it a little bit, is that once you pull it apart, it has a lot of elasticity, and it doesn't really pull apart. There's a lot of other films that are once you stretch on them, they start to rip. What's nice is it seems like the carbon is infused with the PPF. Normally on other films, once you start to pull it apart, you can see that there's a top layer of PPF, and then there's a base layer of like a vinyl. And then once you pull on it a lot, it starts to like separate and delaminate from each other. Which with this film, it seems like it's infused, and I really like that.
So right now, E-Man is removing the protective clear film. That's pretty much just there for shipping and to protect the actual carbon PPF. So with the clear protective film peeled off, he can now cut out the carbon PPF to the shape of this roof. And this is a program that they have for most all cars. They can actually cut this out to the shape of the panel that they're gonna apply the film to. So you can see it's not cutting it on a straight line right there. It's molding it to the edge of the roof. Very cool. Oh, and I should probably mention that we're not wrapping the roof of the Tesla. We are wrapping the roof of this, a Porsche GT3. This thing is highly modified, and it already has some carbon accents, the spoiler as well. And the owner wanted the roof wrapped in carbon. And the preparation to install a colored wrap is just a wash and clay bar.
What you want to do is you want to score the film. So you'll score the film, and then you want to pull the two pieces apart. On cheaper films, sometimes it doesn't score well, it stays together, or it starts to rip in really jagged little pieces. But with this film, off the plotter, it seems to cut out really nicely. And it's a really clean cut all around.
So because this car has a roll cage, they can't remove that little antenna. Normally they would do that. So they have cut out a little section to go around that. And they spray the roof down as well to give them the most flexibility in moving the piece of film, so they get it perfectly on the edges and aligned properly, because this stuff, it obviously sticks pretty well once they get rid of the water and soap. So they need to make sure it's on right before they remove any of the water below.
What our plotter does is it just gives us a rough cut. It gives us a nice little template. We leave all this excess so we can still stretch out the film, so we can glass it and make it look perfect.
So I'm filming this Porsche as kind of a bonus, because I think it's really gonna tie this car all together with the carbon roof, and because in a large sheet, this stuff looks so cool, it looks so real up close. When they're done, I'll show you, but it's like mesmerizing looking at it. You'd think it's real carbon. Wow, this is looking so good. I love this stuff. This is exactly how this car should have come from the factory. All right, so at this point, they have to let this dry for about 30 minutes before they can continue on. So it is Tesla black carbon time, and we're starting off with this rear chrome piece, and it's gonna have the chrome Tesla sticking out. It's gonna pop. I think this is gonna look so good. So he's just cutting off a little piece on the board, and this is gonna be kind of a difficult install because he still has to cut around each letter perfectly. But luckily, we got the best guy on the job. Okay, so while this dries for 30 minutes before he can cut out for the letters, we gotta remove the front bumper again.
Even though we just had this bumper off at the body shop, it's coming off again for some more carbon black PPF. We're gonna do this right here. Easy does it. Okay, we should be able just to rest it on the ground. That way we can get this piece out from the inside. All right, one last clip. Haven't broken any yet. Break? No, we're good. We're good. All that work just to get this piece off so we can wrap it.
So I'm not doing a full chrome delete on the Tesla. I do think chrome is a good accent on some cars, including this one, but I also think carbon fiber is too. So instead, I'm gonna make these work together. So we are gonna have the Tesla popping out of the chrome here in the back, and we're gonna do a very similar theme up front. So we're gonna wrap this in carbon fiber, and we're gonna leave the Tesla T in chrome. And they treat the chrome similar to a painted surface by clay barring it, removing any of the imperfections and contaminants, because although you're not gonna see the chrome anymore, you want this to stick perfectly, and you need a really smooth surface for that. And you can see even in the shiny chrome, there are still dirt and contaminants. So they're actually doing two pieces. That way there's no bubble in the crease there, right in the middle. And just like that, E-Man is done with the carbon roof. This black carbon PPF looks so, so good. It's tucked in to perfection. It looks factory. It looks like it came from Porsche, just like this. And now it matches the carbon fiber rear wing, and this GT3 just looks complete to me. All right, so the front bumper trim is complete, looking amazing. And now E-Man is doing probably the hardest part of this entire job, which is cutting out each letter. This is nuts. Look at how nicely he did the L. I can't believe it. I would never be able to do this. I'd be shaking like crazy. All right, so I ended up just taking this driver front door panel off because we're gonna fix these medicinal burns right here on the table with this. And with this guy.
What's up?
What are we doing here?
We're basically doing body work on an interior panel. So we're gonna clean it, we're gonna fill it, we're gonna paint it, and then put a top coat on it.
Sounds good. So obviously I didn't have the entire car painted, but we have Juan doing a little bit of touch-up work here to make all these tiny little rock chips disappear. All right, so just like paint and body work, the first step is cleaning, and they have a special cleaner just for leather. Wow. Juan, you are a master. Are you serious? This looks so much better. I mean, obviously there's still a scratch there, but aside from painting the entire door, you can't really fix that. So we found another imperfection on the door panel. So they're just sanding each one of these before filling. This is literally just like body work.
It is.
After they sand it, they use this to clean it. And right now Jason is going to be mixing up some filler.
So we'll fill it and then let it dry, and then we'll sand it again, flat and smooth.
All right, it's time for the XP Crystal Paint Protection Film, and we're doing the essentials on the Tesla. So the entire front end, the bumper, the hood, both fenders, the mirrors, and then we're gonna be doing the side skirts right there and the rear bumper. And all they're using is soap and water on the bottom side and on the top, so they don't scratch the film when they're squeegeeing the water out. So right now they've positioned it perfectly so that there's enough meat at the end here to cut off and form it all the way around each panel. It's very important on things like the hood and the bumpers, or really on anything. You want to wrap it all the way around, that way it doesn't catch and start to peel up. All right, so this fender is down, and of course they removed the side fender cameras so they can tuck the wrap in. And it's looking really nice. So we polished out this Tesla as best as we can, but it's just not meant to be a chrome finish like everything else. It's more of a natural aluminum type finish, which is still cool. And now it's gonna pop more with the carbon fiber right next to it. All right, here we go. Oh man, this is sweet. Oh, this is exactly what I was thinking. So cool. There we go. Let's go put it on the car. All right, it's time to install the carbon fiber spoiler. And I know installing spoilers and badges can be a little intimidating. You don't want to mess up the alignment. But I found this to be a pretty good method of installation. I lined up a piece of tape right with the body line here, and then one right next to it, one right next to it, so we can get really close to the spoiler. So there's our gap on this side. And you can see we pretty much have the same gap on this side. I mean, if you're off by like that much, it's not going to make a huge difference. No one will be able to tell, but I think we're pretty good, and I verified with a tape measure that we're basically spot on. So now I can take this guy off and install the double-sided tape. So I've just taken the red film off on the end. I've left a little bit here so we can grab it and peel it off once it's lined up. So let's go ahead and line this guy up. It's hard to do if you peel the red stuff off right away. Now we can get it right into position. See, we're way off right now. Move it over, move it over. Okay, that is good. All right, so I've stuck this side down, and I was able to get the red film up a little bit. So as we pull this, we're gonna stick this down too, and then we can pull this stuff off. Just kind of got to lift up a little bit on there. Okay, this guy is much easier to reinstall because there are clips, but I still added a ton of double-sided tape. It took me about an hour to clean all the old stuff off, but it'll be well worth it. I can just line up these clips, y'all. All right, that's it. Yes. In my mind, this is absolutely perfect. I love this, leaving a little bit of chrome with the carbon and this deep blue metallic. It just looks so nice back here. And then since it's the facelifted model, it has a little bit of a different rear bumper with this painted gloss black from the factory. I think this all ties in so nicely together. I love it. While they're finishing up the hood, I'm gonna finish that. I know you guys already commented about this brake caliper, and we have a little bit of touch-up paint to fix it. All right, so I'm doing this even though we have to take the wheel off because I want it to dry while we continue to work. And I just cleaned this up with alcohol before applying this paint, so it's nice and clean. All right, there you go. We'll let that dry while we continue to work. I just got done putting the front trim piece in and buttoning up the bumper. I love it. I love it with the dark headlights. This looks perfect. I think it looks good with the chrome on the side there, carbon in the middle, Tesla T in chrome as well. This is really coming together. We're gonna protect these rockers as well with the XP Crystal. This is an area of a lot of cars that gets chipped up, but luckily this one wasn't bad at all. All right, so E-Man just finished the carbon fiber on the roof. All the carbon fiber is now done. This looks totally factory. I love the look. It's subtle, but you can tell. What are you doing?
I'm gonna take a wire brush to your PPF.
Oh, come on, dude.
So you're just gonna take this wire brush.
No, this is so messed up, dude. And this is like worst case. This is a wire brush. Dude, you really scratched this up. This is so bad. All right, let's see what happens. So we're gonna take a heat gun, but hot water, you can even put the car out in the sun, should work with this as well.
It's melting away. This is crazy. It's like a magic eraser. And no more scratches, just like that. That's a wire brush, a metal wire brush. And you can't see anything at all. Crazy. All right, so we're gonna scratch up this carbon fiber as well. Why not? We can do that now. This is difficult to see, but if you look at the light, you can see the scratches. All right, go for it. And just like that, they are gone, nothing. All right, so we got a really nice long scratch here. This is a key scratch. You can see it, and it's disappearing right there. You see that? It just goes away. Gone. All right, we scratched up a little bit more of the hood in the front. Go ahead. Yeah, and most of the time you really don't even need to do anything. You could just put the car out in the hot sun and they'll just melt away. So it almost like automatically removes scratches if you go park your car outside. All right, so with the filler dry, they're just sanding it down and getting it really smooth. So this takes a little bit of time to get perfect, but you want that before you paint it so the final result kind of blends right in. Okay, so while the door panel is drying, we're gonna go ahead and fix this side bolster on the driver's seat. It looks like the factory color has kind of just worn away, which is pretty common on a lot of cars. First step is to clean it, of course. This just looks like fun, honestly. I mean, I want to do this all day. This is great. Look it. Wow. Wait, where was that? Wow, look at that. You can barely tell. But more importantly, this seat looks pretty much perfect. This is what it looked like before, and now this is what it looks like after. I'm really happy with this. Looks pretty good, right?
Yeah, it looks much better.
Does it smell in here?
I didn't know you got down like that.
Oh, come on. It doesn't smell at all.
No, it doesn't. It smells fine.
All right, and here's the door panel after the repair. So from far away, really can't tell anything is wrong with it. If you want to get crazy and zoom in, you can see that it was repaired. But it's way better than it was before, and a lot better than spending like $400, maybe more, on a new Tesla door panel. It's time to really transform the look of the Tesla and replace the factory 19-inch wheels. Although in a month or two, I'll be putting these back on for the winter. But for now, we have the factory 21-inch wheels that came on this car, but they were finished in the factory gunmetal gray, not in the best of condition, lots of big chips, lots of scratches. They needed to be refinished, so I brought them over to my friends at Crown Customs in Elk Grove Village, Illinois. They stripped the wheels down to bare metal and then powder coated them in one of their hyper silver finishes. So I asked them if they had anything that resembled black chrome, and this is what they came up with, and I'm so happy. These guys do the best job, and they have every color you could ever think of. So whatever color wheels you want, they can take care of you. I'll leave their information linked down below, but this finish, it changes color depending on the light. It has a black barrel as well, so it can look chrome, it can look black at the same time. It's kind of crazy. I like it. I think it's going to look amazing with the blue and the carbon. So let's get them on there. Hey, these really aren't that dirty. They're going to clean up very easily, but it is kind of funny that the parking brake on the Tesla, even if you get the optional red brake calipers, is just black. They couldn't paint this one for you. All right, that's not going to look really much better, but this does. And here are the new wheels. Hang on, we gotta lower this thing. Gotta turn jack mode off, and let's go low. It's coming down, takes a little while. We just got done cleaning up the interior and putting the final touches on the Tesla, and so we're all wrapped up here at Chicago Auto Pros in Lombard, Illinois, and I cannot thank these guys enough for the phenomenal job that they did on my car. I've been coming here for years, and these guys work on some really serious cars. Cars get shipped from all over the country to have detail work, paint protection film, wraps, and things of that nature done, and they're entrusted with some very high-end cars, and they deliver every time, second to none. They are true professionals, and it really, really shows. And this is proof of that. So I will leave a link to Chicago Auto Pros down below. They also sell a lot of detailing supplies at carsupplieswarehouse.com. I'll leave that link down below also. And so we went from this to this, my new Tesla daily driver, and man, does that look good. So I'm really happy with the Model S. This is what it looked like before. And here is where we are today, and I think the black chrome wheels with the cleaned up red calipers really complete the side profile. Before, the front end had a ton of rock chips, a nasty front license plate, and a kind of boring chrome trim under the hood, and this is where we are today. I think this matches just perfectly with the chrome on the side, the Tesla T in the middle, and then if you get up close, you'd think this carbon fiber was a factory option. So beautiful, beautiful front end now without the front license plate bracket. And this is probably my favorite part of the car now. I think this just matches perfectly with the Tesla kind of sticking out of the carbon fiber before when this was chrome. It all just blended in together. And on my other Model S, I had a larger spoiler, which I liked, but I think this factory carbon fiber spoiler matches much better, and the back end of the car just looks absolutely amazing. Look at the side profile. This is crazy. I cannot believe this is my daily driver. I've always thought these were really good looking cars. And take a look at the before and after on the paint correction. So this car was one of the worst newer cars Chicago Auto Pros had ever seen. And they spent many, many hours correcting the paint to perfection. It's absolutely amazing. And I love this color. It's my favorite color. I had never owned blue cars up until about a year ago. And now I have 3 of them. So I'm a huge fan of the deep metallic blue, or deep blue metallic, whatever they call it. And now the car simply looks brand new. I mean, this is a 2016. You'd never be able to tell. And we wrapped kind of the essential parts of this car with the paint protection film, so it's gonna stay looking like this for a long time. You can't see this, but we actually wrapped the top part of the bumper with the XP crystal, so when you're loading things in the back of the car, you're protected. And take a look at the nasty scratches we had on the back bumper. They have miraculously disappeared. Well, actually, Juan spent about an hour buffing out the rear bumper just to get these to go away, but no paint work was needed in the back. This was all paint correction. So I've also decided to leave the P100D and Model S badges off. I just think it looks too clean like this, and I am considering maybe a few more carbon fiber accents. Let me know in the comments section. I do like a little bit of chrome, but do you think this is too much? I don't know what I would do with the side. I mean, it does look really good, so I might just leave it exactly the way it is. And here's a good look at the black chrome or medium hyper silver color from Crown Customs on the wheels. I think these really set the car off. Some of these came with just normal silver 21-inch wheels, and then they went to gunmetal, so this is just a little bit different, and I think it matches really well with the black center cap and the chrome Tesla T. And here's the black carbon on the roof, so I think this is a nice subtle change from the piano black that was on the car before. And this PPF, the XP crystal, and the black carbon is ultra hydrophobic, so water just beads right off. And any panel that we didn't apply the XP crystal to, I did ceramic coat, so everything, the glass, the wheels, every part of this car is ceramic coated as well. Oh, and here's the quick story on the burn marks in the interior. So I bought this car from the original owner. It was in Michigan, and I found it on Facebook Marketplace, and I kind of stalked the guy, and I noticed that he was in the medicinal marijuana business. So totally legal, totally legit. But I had simply asked him, does it smell in the car? If you're in the medicinal marijuana business, your car might smell. So he had said no, but he did let me know that it had a couple of burn marks from his friend who used the car when it was practically new, and he burned it and he never let him use it again. But he claimed it didn't smell. So when he pulled up to my house, he actually drove this thing like 4 hours to Chicago. And when he pulled up into my driveway, I opened the door and I'm like, dude, it smells in here. And he's like, no, 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 I'm transporting a bunch of goods right now. So that's not smoke. That's just the smell of the 3 pounds of product that are in the back seat. And he seemed like a really stand-up guy. I trusted him. So we took that out. We kind of aired the car out, and the smell is gone. There is no smell whatsoever. So the car wasn't really smoked in except for like 4 or 5 years ago. video. So now the interior is in excellent condition. If I wanted to make it absolutely perfect, I guess I could replace that driver's side door panel, but I'm not gonna do that. It looks good enough, and the rest of the interior is super clean. The previous owner didn't have any pets or kids or anything like that. And speaking of kids, a big shout out to Chris at Chicago Auto Pros. I had a big gash in this leather dash that was actually from my kids coming in and out of the car from soccer and football practice. I didn't think we could fix it, but now you can't even tell where it was. It's literally gone. If you guys know about Tesla, you know this car's kind of a unicorn. Being a 2016, this has the very rare heated and cooled perforated seat option, which Tesla did get rid of, I think in 2017 or 18. And it also has heated rear seats, and another option that they got rid of about a year or two later was the opening sunroof. So now it's just a big glass panel. It doesn't open, but mine does. And it opens up quite a lot. I really like this feature. I use it all the time, and this car is loaded up with pretty much every other option you could imagine, like the good stereo system, the red painted brake calipers, the full self-driving. The sticker on this car back in late 2016 was $150,000. But I spent a little bit less than that. My 2016 P100D cost me $63,000. Now that's still a ton of cash to plop down on one car, especially a daily driver. Quite honestly, I never thought in my entire life that I'd own a car that cost $63,000. That's still just crazy to me. But I've learned over the last few years of buying and selling a lot of cars that all that really matters is the cost of ownership. So Doug DeMuro once said he's okay with spending $200,000 on his Ford GT because he knows in a couple of years when he goes to sell it, it's gonna be worth at least that. And we know now with the crazy used car market that it's worth probably double, but he's not okay with buying a brand new AMG car for 150 grand that's gonna be worth $60,000 in just a few years, similar to this car right here. That's a bad decision. So I don't really ever lose money on the cars that I buy and sell. I've been doing this for a very long time, and I think that with this Model S, I can basically break even after driving this car for a couple of years. This is my dream spec Model S, so I could have bought a Camry for 35 grand and maybe lost $5,000 over the course of 2 or 3 years. And I think this is gonna be similar. If you guys know the market on these cars, this car right now is probably in the $75,000 to $78,000 range. Some guys are asking in the mid 80s for a late 2016 or 2017 Model S with full self-driving. So I could probably flip this car today for like $15,000 more than what I paid for it, but I'm not gonna do that because I really like the car. It's a big car. I can fit the whole family in. It fits all of my camera gear in the back. It doesn't use any gas. It's super fast. I think it looks great. And I've been a big fan of EVs since I was a wee little kid with GM's EV1. I was just always into the tech. I've been driving electric cars daily for about 7 years now with 2 Chevy Volts before my last Model S and now this. So I'm a huge fan of EVs, but I still like my gas-powered cars. Obviously, I have like 13 of them, which is probably like a total of 100 cylinders or something along those lines. So anyway, I love the car. I hope you guys do too, and I hope you really enjoyed this video. And if you did, hit the thumbs up, share the video. This car here is gonna ruin my outro. Subscribe if you're new, and most importantly, have an awesome day. I'll catch all of you in the next video.